This conference will now be recorded.
So in system testing, there are parts. How many parts are there? System testing has user interface testing and functional testing and non-functional testing. So three things I think I listed here. So these are also known as black box testing types. Usability testing, these are also called software testing in common terminology. So let me also state that. So when you say software testing, all these things should come in your mind, right? So they are also known as black box testing types. Okay, so what is the software testing? If somebody asks you software testing, what is software testing in interview? So this is what you have to say: after completion of programs integration and integration testing, right? So one is unit testing, other is integration testing. So after these stages, corresponding developers can release software to testers, right? Then testers can test that software with respect to customer requirements or business requirements. And also expectations, you can say. So that's requirements is a formal terminology, expectations is the informal terminology. So you can use both as I don't know why it's stuck. Okay. Can everyone see my screen clearly? Yes or no?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes this becomes red, so I was just wondering. So in general, what is software testing? Stage is classified into below categories. Okay, so which are usability testing, functional testing, and non-functional testing. Okay, so when you are asked like what is software testing, you should say in detail like this, at least speak about it for 30 seconds or so. So then you should they understand it, that you understood, you know it very well. Okay, so we have discussed about usability testing. It's just look and feel, simple in the name itself. You can elaborate it. So look and feel includes short navigations, cosmetic things, images, fancy things, ease of use, how easy you can navigate through all these things. So a testing team also writes test cases sometimes separately, or they are part of the end-to-end testing, which is a part of functional testing. So you can mix both. And manual support help documents presence and their verification for typos, grammatical mistakes, missing any mismap gaps. You can point out those in the usability testing. So everything related to usability is covered in usability testing, right? Now functional testing, by the name itself, you can say it's working nature, it's usage. So don't go with the usability means usage. Usability is just look and feel, whereas functional is its working nature. So like I said, so that includes functional tests, functionality testing also, that is different. So this is the basic mandatory testing, and it comes under system testing. So this is the important, and there are two parts of functional testing again, like smoke testing and functionality testing. So the standard question would be, what is the difference between functional testing and functionality testing? Can anyone specify? Functional testing is a broader term, like software in general. Software testing can start with this testing, and this is a final testing in terms of the software tester's job. Okay, not UAT. UAT is second, another type of testing which is which takes place after the system testing. But as far as the testing team job is concerned, this is the final testing, functional test. So functional testing is subcategorized into two parts again: smoke testing and functionality testing. So the smoke testing, like the name suggests, in in the hardware industry, not software industry, they actually literally uh, make the product, see if the product catches fire or not. So in hardware industry, like for example cars and stuff like that, so literally they will check whether this product gets catches a fire and burns or not. So if burns fail, if QC fails, if it doesn't burn, QA pass. So then they'll stamp with the QA pass and everything. So that is a part of it. So that is the first and foremost testing is done in any industry before software. So hence the term smoke testing stuck with it. So we use the same term in software industry also, which is smoke or sanity testing. Sanity means what? Sanity means it's a sanitary or not, it's clean, healthy or not healthy. So that's a quick check, right? Which should not take more than 50 to 30 minutes. So you cannot say 15 only, because it's by nature you just check the important functionalities only. And mostly the smoke testing is done by automation testing, because it has to be done like odd hours, like night time. So if no automation testing is there, then they will check manually in the morning. Then second thing is functionality testing. So functionality testing again is subdivided into couple of parts, which are GUI testing, input domain coverage testing, error handling coverage testing, and manipulations calculations coverage testing, backend database coverage testing, and order of functionality testing. So these are all parts. Okay, so you can say one more testing also, SOA testing. What is SOA testing? SOA testing is integration testing, basically with the SOAP messages and REST APIs and all that stuff. So that is termed as a SOA testing. That is called web services, SOAP, REST services, API testing. So that all comes in, because these are different, nothing to do with the front end. These do not have front end, they just are pieces of information in terms of XML or AP, the REST, JSON requests or responses, which basically are used for communication between two or more systems, right? Different systems. So HTML is used for display purpose, right? What is HTML? Everybody knows HTML. So whatever we use to display on the web page, this is written in HTML. So you can easily see the source code, right? So whatever is displayed, whatever is used to for displaying on the browser, that is written in the HTML. So this is for display purpose only. I mean, you can do dynamic things with it by incorporating VB script or JavaScript, right? Mainly JavaScript to insert dynamic stuff. Okay, so like you can insert like a calendar, you can insert a marquee, you can insert time, date, time which changes, which you can insert counter of number of visitors which increases every second. You can increase different things which changes everything dynamically. So however, that is just still the display purpose only, but you cannot communicate with HTML between two different systems. Whereas SOA is used for communication purposes. So communication between two or more systems, right? So the example would be, how do you gain example? Last time I told you what is the example for communication SOA? Yes. So two different systems, like for example, USPS. USPS relies on address verification, right? So it depends on third-party address verification. And like for example, you're signing up for something, and it depends on USPS. So you enter your address, and it automatically checks against the USPS database. So basically, that system is sending your data and checking with another system USPS in terms of a quick JSON or XML. Then that responds back with the, hey, this is the suggested address. Or then your system gives you option, you want to go with your address or suggested address, which is a correct address. So you have option again. So that communication is happen in terms of a API or XML or whatever. So that thing is known as, that architecture is known as SOA. So now you do that testing as well, not just HTML GUI, but also SOA. Okay, so GUI testing, everybody knows, right? GUI, what is GUI testing? This testing is also called as control flow testing. During this testing team can operate on different GUI objects. GUI means graphical user interface objects like checkboxes, radio buttons, drop downs, stuff like that, and observe the behavior of each and every object in each and every screen of the AUT, application unit tests. Everybody got that, right? So can anyone repeat what is GUI testing?
I think it's testing like what we saw in the screen, like first look, I guess.
No, the look is covered in usability testing. This is not the look and feel testing. Look and feel is covered in user interface testing. Usability testing is divided into user interface and manual support, right?
No,
So
like
look,
I mean like is for like the graphical things, how the page was designed, or like how those things works, isn't it?
no, okay, so I am asking you in interview, I am asking you a question. You ask back the interviewer, isn't it? So you say whatever you
No,
are
no, no, no,
confident.
no. I'm just asking you, like
Oh,
my
okay,
opinion.
that's fine. That's fine. Now I explained you. Okay, so now you tell in your own words confidently. Don't ask, isn't it? I'll explain again. Do not worry. So just say, what do you think is a GUI testing? What do you understand? Not think. Just tell me your. I already explained. You tell the same thing. I'll correct you again. What is GUI testing? The question. Answer. You want me to write down the answers so that you don't forget, or I mean,
Yeah,
whichever.
I think that should be okay. I understand, but I can't really
Yeah,
explain
yeah,
like
that's
the
not.
proper way.
That's why I asked you. You understand, but you cannot express. And understanding is one thing, expressing is another, right? So if you don't express, how would anybody know that you understood, right? Okay, so no issues. So I'll write it down so that you can also refer. Gui testing is also called, as control flow testing. Control flow testing. Okay, so different terminologies are important because different people use different terminologies. So we have to know like what is what. So now during this testing, what tester does, tester or testing team can operate AUT or SUT. Okay, so these are terminologies.
Actually, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, please.
Actually, like as my realization, I think that's the testing what the tester like check if the application meets all graphical requirement, isn't it? Something like that.
Yes or no? Needs graphical requirements. So he doesn't check needs because requirement.
No, like as per required.
Right. That's what you have to say. You have to use the term. Business analyst already found out the needs with the client and already that thing is over. Now tester's job is to just check against the requirements whether those things are existing or not. That's all. Right.
Mhm.
So, okay, you can continue. During this testing team can operate. AUT means application under testing. SUT means software under test. Okay. Screens. So it's basically application is a collection of screens, right? Multiple screens. One, two, three. You go navigate through screen by screen. And simply you observe the behavior of every object in every screen of AUT, SUT. That's a complete. You can change it, customize it according to your understanding, but that's how it's supposed to be. Complete definition. Okay. Now, okay, tell me what is GUI testing? Just mention.
GUI testing is a testing where tester check all graphical interface according to the
Mhm.
requirement, like a menu, drop-down box,
Correct.
like the
Yep.
screen size and everything.
Right. So when you say every object, all those things come into picture. Menu, checkbox, and state. You
Drop.
can state. Yeah, now it's state. Text box,
Uh-huh.
and image, and drop
Screen
down.
size.
What is it?
I
Screen?
screen size because like based on your monitor like
Of course.
resolution,
And is
the
GUI.
screen
Yeah,
could be
screen
like
size,
different.
of course. Screen size and anything missing, you can just state go on and on.
Or icon,
Icons, right?
yeah, bottom,
Buttons, links,
tool
yes.
toolbar, menu bar, like
Yes. I mean, not the browser toolbar. You don't check the
no,
browser
no, no,
toolbar.
no. Like I
The
said, like
application
in the
itself.
application.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Correct. All this, blah blah blah, etc. Right. Now you get the picture. Everybody gets the picture now. Elaborated. Now, so that's a GUI testing. In one sentence, GUI means you should get the idea at least after understanding this. Okay, now let's not spend more time on GUI testing because it's just a part of testing, right? So let's jump to the input domain coverage, which is equally important. And in fact, it is more important than GUI testing because it actually relates to, like the name suggests, input domain coverage. Okay, now you tell me what do you think input domain coverage means? And I'll correct it, don't worry. What
Uh,
does the tester do during this testing? You just state what you are supposed to do.
is it the same? Is it the things like where the tester will check like every field, where is it the correct or not? Like let's say about the numeric field or like those things.
Yeah, correct. You're right. You are on the right target.
Like let's say about if you write down a name, it shouldn't be numeric, it should be like alphabetic or something like
Yeah,
that. When you write
right.
down your age, it should be numeric, isn't it like
Correct.
that?
Yep, that's it. So that's what we discussed on last class also. I wanted you to write BVA and DCP. I mean, I'm going back, but that's it. So in standard definition terminology, you should say something like during this testing, what testers do. So you just says that would be sufficient. So test team can operate on every screen of AUT by giving different inputs, right? To
Yeah,
observe size and type of the inputs, IP input. Okay, so now let's understand this. Size means number, type means, like you said, it's alphabet or alphanumeric or
yeah.
alphanumeric plus special characters, all those. That's what exactly we discussed in the black box testing techniques. So before this, I just want to reiterate this. So input domain coverage directly links to BVA and DCP. So now the input, in fact, the this one BVA and DCP black box testing techniques, two of the black box testing techniques directly are the techniques which are used in input domain coverage testing. So in other words, so exactly. So size means you use BVA later on. I mean, we already discussed. Some people also send the homework. Good thing. So, and don't worry, we are going to discuss it again. And type means ECG. So, okay. Now error handling. So what is anyone else can tell me, not the same person. If same person repeatedly answers all questions, that's not going to get everyone involved, right? So everyone get involved and say something. Error handling coverage. The name suggests, so you just guess, educate, make an educated guess. Just volunteer without me having to look at the names and call you, right? That would take some time. Volunteer, some person, one person, two, three, four, five. What is error handling? Error, you handle the errors in coverage. Okay, how do you elaborate it? Explain. Explain it to me. Okay, you simply have to say what tester
Can I explain?
job. Huh? Yeah,
Can I
go
ex-
on.
I think
Yeah, go on.
that I think that's the stage where tester checked all those like error things, like if is
Mhm.
it working properly. Like let's say about you click on checkbox, if is it checked or not, like or those things, isn't it?
Yeah, you're almost getting there, but not the complete one.
No, like I just give you an
Okay.
example. Like let's say about if there is any error coming, if is it coming on the right way or like what's on the
Correct.
error,
Yeah,
something
that
like
is
that.
correct. Okay, that is correct. The target is correct. How do you, how does these errors come? You have to say the source also. Target is correct. How do you reproduce the errors? What are the different scenarios where you can get errors? Like
So
if there is a button, I instead of left clicking, I right click. Is it going to cause error? That kind of errors or something else? You have to
no,
specify.
yeah, that kind of error. Like let's say about
No,
you
no, no, no.
click
That
on
is
the
not the kind. I gave you wrong one and you said yes. You should disagree with that.
no, no,
If
no,
the if I right click on a left a button, it's not going to throw any error. I am not speaking about the right click disabled errors. I just gave you wrong example and you agree to that. That that is a
Hello.
wrong
Hello.
right example. Okay, I'll tell you right example. Simple. Instead of giving the right input, you give the wrong input. Like for example, same thing. Go to BBA or ECP, okay, for this, and in the password section field, you cannot enter the special character. You actually entered this and clicked on login. Now, what is supposed to do according to customer's requirement? It is supposed to throw an error, right? So
I have a question here, Sangam.
yeah, go on.
So you are talking about the logical error or syntax error?
Everything related to testing only. I mean, do not worry
Only
about
testing
Java
only.
errors.
Yeah,
Java
because syntax error
will
is might be your coding problem, but if you go to logical, in terms of the logical, that's gonna be have different. Like you have problem
okay.
with
So
timing or
you are talking about the Java. Like for example, if I divide something by zero, you are gonna throw
Mhm.
divide by zero exception, right? There are like null pointer exception if you do not pass a value, right? In your Java,
Mhm.
you or you get different. You catch those exceptions and you throw the exceptions in try catch block, right? I am
Yeah.
not talking about those except errors because the tester is not in no way related to those errors. Tester is related to those errors which actually get displayed on the page, like in red color. Your username password is invalid. That is the error. That you customize it and you throw the error from your Java code. That is fine. But what you see on the screen is the error you are dealing with as a tester. So now tell me, how do you define the error handling coverage testing? Tester job is to operate on the screens by giving invalid input, right? To check the existence of the error messages. Simple. Simple. I mean, you don't have to overthink here. Error handling means you're checking for the existence of error messages. By giving wrong input, you expect error messages. If you give the right input, you expect the non-existence of the error messages. Simple as that. So that is covered in error handling. Do not overthink. Just go by it. Name says everything. Okay, let's not spend more time on that. Manipulations and calculations coverage. Okay, how do you define it? So this is to how do you explain it, right? Not how do you understand. I mean, understanding is important too, but you have to explain it. Okay, manipulation testing is what is it? Calculation testing.
If all calculation giving me the right
Hmm.
number.
Correct, that's it. Yeah. So be specific by be giving an example. So that would be more elaborative. So in this testing, tester can operate on the screens of AUT application under test or the application. If you do not feel comfortable with those terminology, use application by giving valid inputs here, right? Not invalid inputs to test the correctness of the output, be whatever it is. Like you're like testing a flight reservation application and you actually book tickets for two people. Now total price is displayed there. Now how do you check? Manually. We're not going automated automation also. So you actually combine the to and fro flight prices multiplied by number of passengers traveling, add it to the tax, then that would give rise to the final output, which is the total flight price. So you actually give the valid inputs. If you give the invalid inputs, that comes under the error handling again. So that is already over. That's why it is differently categorized. Now, the calculation testing, you actually give the valid inputs and you're checking the correctness of the output. So if the output is displayed but it is wrong, so then you fail the test or test case. If it is correct, you pass. So those kind of testing come under these manipulations. So do not think this is separately you do in project. You actually combine everything and write a whole end-to-end test case. But you should understand, if a test lead asks you to write a calculation coverage test, in the testing the calculation coverage is not there, then you have to incorporate this. Okay, so backend and database testing, what is it and why it is significant?
Is the testing check backend database if is it working properly? It is if it is storing all the data in the correct column and
Correct.
correct format.
Right. Now let's define it. That's correct. So in this, tester can operate on the front end screens, right? Front end means the whatever you see on the browser, and observe the corresponding operations impact on the DB.
Backend database.
Yeah, DB, database tables by writing SQL queries by means of structured query language queries. Simple. You can define whichever manner you want to, but that's a complete picture. I mean, by stating that, anyone who asks the question will understand the complete picture. And by giving examples like, okay, hey, I'm registering in Gmail, and I'm actually after registration, I will go to the database, backend database, and query the table in which the registration. For example, select star from so and so register table, and then I'll check the values coming by order, where first name is so and so. Then I'll check correctly the first row, or whichever row is impacted by it, inserted or being updated with the values I provide during the front end operation. So both are equal, pass. Both are not equal, fail. So that's an example. Now order of the functionality. Okay, so I think I already gave an example here. This, right? Let's not use this because it's, yeah. Okay, so okay, now tell me in terms of nice sentence, what is the order functionality testing?
In this testing phase, the tester will gonna check all the functionalities is working according to the serial. Like let's say about like one after another, like you already put an example. I can really elaborate not more than that because it's already is in here.
Oh, yeah, example are already given in the bracket. So you just said that right. So all you have to state is this. Write it down. So tester. Okay, now let's use the same terminology that I have been defining. Tester can observe, right, the sequential order, right, of the
Application.
object. Yeah, objects, features, functionalities on all screens of AUT. Okay. So if order is per the requirement, pass, no, fail. For example, yeah, this is like a quick example to verify the order of features. Forgot password sign up is so not possible, right? After signing up, I mean, before logging in, forgot password is possible. So without signing up, yeah, how can you forget password? And forget password link is mentioned in the registration page, which is ridiculous. So that's not order, that's fail. So that I just give you the fail example. So you can come up with pass example. Okay, now SOA testing. Yeah, I think I explained this before writing this. So explain again. What is that and why? Why is it important?
Is the testing like let's say about uh, to check like all gateway for internal gateway? Like I'm just giving an example. Like let's say about if is
Yeah,
it if
example
is it
would be
the,
fine.
if is it a shopping cart, there is a like PayPal gateway, there is API, there is web service, there is other things. So is the in this stage tester will check all the like internal service APIs and everything is working according to the requirement.
Correct. Yeah. So let's have a diagram. Okay, so we have everybody knows about the two-tier architecture and n-tier architecture, right? Anyone who doesn't know?
I'm sorry, what you talking about?
Okay, okay, then that means you don't know. Okay. Let me see this. Okay. So two-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture means two. So two-tier architecture, we have a client and server, right? So this is a client and this is a server. What is a client? What is server now? Yes. And there is a two-way communication. Okay, let's have this arrow. Okay, so in two-tier architecture, think of it as a in olden days bank application where every bank employee has the software installed on their machines, right? It's like a visual basic application. Think of it. Okay. Now, how do they get them installed? With a CD or something? So they get installed, and whenever a new customer comes, they will open it and they will register their details, open that Visual Basic application, enter all the details, and save it. Okay, and that's saved locally. Okay. Now, if you want to, and at the end of the day, they will reconcile the data. Okay. Now, if other employee wants this data immediately, they have to actually go to that employee who actually inserted all these details on system and get the data. Okay, so that becomes very cumbersome, right? Now later on, the concept. So this involves client only. Every time you have the main software resides on the client, right? Now in three-tier architecture, this limit, you got the limitation already, right? So the limitation is very inconvenience of it. So in three-tier architecture, the concept of, okay, let me actually take this. Okay. So client, server, and database, web server, right? Okay. And database came into picture. So database we will draw with this oval. Right. So and the communication happens between these. So the good example is right now what we are using. So the client is like a browser and the whole source code resides on somewhere in the central point, right? Centralized manner. Now database is associated with it, and whenever, so there are multiple clients here, 1 2 3 4, not just many, and whatever you do it on your browser. So client is your browser, is your client, and you update, you register through front end that goes to the centralized web server, and it checks against the database, and just database stores everything, correct? So now even if you go to another system and query the same details, okay, so you can do so without having to move an inch, and that will again go to web server and it checks again database and it responds back. You send the request, it processes the request, and it sends back the response. Now that gets displayed on your browser. So that is a three-tier architecture, right? So multiply this with n number of web services, that becomes an entire architecture. So that we are talking about in the SOA testing, right? So for example, a system wants to speak to another system, right? Now it will speak to another system in terms of what? XMLs or JSONs, right? So if it is soap services they are using, then the communication will happen in terms of XML. So you say a client always sends in terms of HTML only. Okay. So HTML browser, here I am entering something and click this button. So that will be converted to XML, and the XML will go here, and it will send the XML to another system, system 2, and then system 2 processes it, and if it has its in its own database too, it prepares another XML that we will call it as a response XML. Again it comes it, and you will get back that response XML, and that XML gets displayed in terms of HTML. That's the whole communication process translates into the display thing, right? Now, same thing in the JSON also. You send you actually enter the details in front end only, and that converts into JSON request, and the request goes to another system that checks with its own database and responds back with the another JSON that is called response JSON. Now, it simply browser takes Java code, whatever developer writes, it simply takes those values from the response and displays it onto HTML that finally end user will be able to see. So that is a communication. Now tell me, SOA testing, how do you define it? What does a tester do? Tester can observe sharing of common resources, right? That's what it is about. Among different, I didn't use the term between because between only used for between two systems, right? So we are talking about entire architecture, so it's among multiple systems. So you can increase the two tier to multiple, that becomes entire, right? So n can be replaced by anything, 2, 3, 4. One is not a possibility because you can't communicate with your own self in terms of software, so there has to be minimum 2, and 3 is right now, and n is the max number. So different systems or softwares. Okay, so different systems being what are the other systems? Web services, databases, etc. Okay, and the communication mode is through the XML and JSON, and finally this gets displayed. So in SOA testing, you do not worry about the display, you directly go into the communication. So what kind of tools you use for SOA testing? You use SOAP UI, and for REST you use REST assured for automation, or ready API, or Postman. Okay, I'll show you, do not worry. When we talk about this topic, I will show you how do you test the SOAP messages and REST services in we will use Postman or REST API. Okay, so that is about all the functionality testing, isn't it? Now coming to the black box testing techniques, we talked about the boundary value analysis and equivalence class partitioning. Now this is directly related to the input validation, domain coverage testing, right? And which are part of the end-to-end testing. And boundary value testing speaks about the size, equivalence class partitioning speaks about the type, right? Now, okay, we have already seen examples. Simply you understand that min minus 1, min plus 1, max minus max plus 1 will cover the boundary value. And equivalence class partitioning, you just check the alpha, numeric, and special. That's it. So you don't have to do anything. So here, okay, I already mentioned min minus 1, max plus 1. So you just cover here the types, alphanumeric and special characters. Okay, so what was the homework I gave you last time? I think this is a homework, right? Okay, let's try to write the BV and ECP quickly. So anyone come up with already wrote this on your system? Tell me quickly. We don't elaborate because we are already elaborated. We will just write in one line. BBA and ECP. Yes. Read out the homework and tell me. Anyone? Jump. Uh, who were speaking before?
Are you talking to me?
No. What is your name?
My name is Russell.
Russell. Okay, Russell. Yeah, you're fine. And who was the other one? Only Russell was speaking or some other?
There was other two. I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
his.
So do you guys don't speak and I'll pick one. Mim Noor. Okay, will tell me the BBA of this homework. Mim is on mute or okay. Mohammed Hussein. Faisal. Okay, Faisal.
Yeah.
You're already
So,
aware.
like last, I think last class you already explained that one because you already mentioned that minimum 5 character and maximum 30 characters. So
Yeah.
based on that, we can say like minimum.
Yeah, tell me. I'm not going to write minimum. So what is the minimum directly?
Minimum 5
5.
and
Yes.
maximum
5
30.
is a pass or fail. We'll also mention 5 pass or fail. If you mention
That will
5
be passed because
pass,
minimum 5 character will be passed.
your
Yeah.
5 is allowed. So you have to pass and then
And maximum 30, so 30 character will be passed.
it also pass and then
If it's 31, it's gonna be fail.
31 is fail, correct, and then we just have to cover everything.
And okay, if it's 1 character, it's gonna be
1.
fail.
You mean 1, 1.
Yeah, less than we can do the
No,
less than 5
1 we are not
anything.
following, right? We are only following min minus 1, min plus 1.
Yeah,
Because 1, if you cover, I have to cover like
yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Pass
4. You can put the 4 is gonna be fail.
4, right? That is min minus 1. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
just cover these 6, you covered everything. That's the whole idea. So 4 is pass or fail if you enter only
It's gonna
4
be fail.
characters. Huh?
Fail.
Fail, correct. And then, so we covered min,
We cover,
min
yeah, all of them.
max plus 1. What else? What are the rest of the 2? More.
Oh, you need 2 more?
Yes.
I
Otherwise,
think we cover,
not
right?
complete. Okay, like let's check again. So you said min minus 1 and you said max plus 1. So you didn't cover min plus 1 and max minus 1. Which
Oh,
are
okay, I see. It's gonna
yeah,
be 7
not 7,
and
6, right? Min plus 1.
yeah, 6. Yeah, you got the 5, yeah.
We will pass
6
because it's in
and
the
29.
requirement. Correct.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be pass and 29 gonna be
29
pass.
pass. Yeah, that's it. That's you have to cover completely. Boundary value analysis. You have to cover all the boundary values. These are the boundary values. If you miss
Yeah.
one of them, it's not complete. Okay, that's good. And ECP, anyone? You just mentioned pass and fails for ECP also. Anyone else? Okay, you want me to Mozamil Hawk? Can you tell me the ECP? Or Naeem? Okay, okay. Because can you speak?
I didn't
Okay,
study for ECP.
okay. What is a ECP? ECP is not the numbers. ECP is the types. So let me show you the example. Last time we discussed for this username, we analyze the ECP equivalence class partition like
Class
this:
partitioning.
alphanumeric and special. That's all you have to say. Yeah. So tell me. Here is a password. The example I gave you in the last class was username. Now it's a password. That's the only difference. So the requirement says you have to always check with the requirement, right? So the requirement says it should be alphanumeric and special with at least one capital letter. Okay. Now, yes. So I'll just make a table here, alphabetical, numeric, okay, and alpha. Okay, again, since it talks about this thing, case lower alphabetical, okay, numeric only. Different cases arise again, it increases, and capital alpha. Okay, when I say alpha, alphabetical, okay, then mixed alpha. Mixed means both small and capital, so that already covers one capital, so we're good. And alpha numeric, all lower case, alpha numeric, all uppercase, alpha numeric, mixed case. Mixed case means lower and upper, and alpha numeric with special character with. You can cover all these with lowercase, uppercase. I don't want to, so I'll just cover with the capital letter. Okay, so you don't have to cover everything, so at least you cover whatever you think will cover, just cover. Okay, so lower alphabetical, is it gonna be pass or fail? That's all you have to say. Example, I can write something, but that's gonna cover. I can take 5 pass. Okay, so let's take, okay, is it pass or fail scenario if I cover this one? So this is the actual value. Okay, literally it's a actual value.
It's gonna be pass.
It is gonna be pass.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What does the requirement say? Read it again. At least one capital. Does it have at least one capital?
No, I'm looking at this requirement lower alphabetic. So you are looking that one. That's
Yeah,
gonna be different.
right. So you
No,
always
like
use the requirement.
having at least, yeah, in it, then you have to say in here also. That's why I was thinking, is it the lower alphabetic, then all of them lower. If you say
Right.
lower alphabetic
Look
with
at
at
my
least
case. These are the test cases. ECP is test case. I'm writing test cases using
oh,
ECP.
okay, okay, yeah, I got it now.
Now
Yeah, it's
this is
gonna
what
be,
I'm passing. Now
yeah,
according to the requirement, is it
yeah, it's gonna be fail.
is gonna fail? Yes, that's what
Yeah.
you. It has to fail.
No,
You
no, sorry, I was looking at this requirement. That's why.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But you have to always check against the requirement. That's the bottom line. Okay, numeric only. I'll give the example and you tell me. Always read this. So we have already read password should be minimum 5, max 10 characters. That's end of the this thing. What the boundary value analysis. We have already done it. Now we are checking the rest of the requirements. So here this is the rest of the requirement, and we are doing the ECP. Simple. It's so divide into two things, divide and conquer. Okay, so tell me an example also in numeric case. This is a practical thing. I mean, you do the same thing on lab session in the Excel spreadsheet. That's on Sunday. Russell is going to show you, but this is what I'm showing you on the notepad. So same thing, same thought process, no change. Okay, numeric only. What is the data? Test data. This is like test data. This is the test case, right? And the test case uses this test data, and this is the result. Okay, so this is what you're going to put in the Excel sheet on Sunday lab session. So numeric only. What is the test data? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'm still meeting the BVA 5 characters pass. So I'm sticking to the BVA pass scenario because I don't want you to get confused. I can take fail scenario and pass. That will be two. You can mix and match. That's another next step. But I'm taking BVA pass scenario. But you have to tell me, is it a fail or pass in terms of ECP? So if I take this one, is it fail or pass? Read the sentence.
Fail. This is fail.
Fail. Why?
Because all are numeric data. There is no alphabetical.
Yeah, there is no at least one. Forget about what is it? Alphabet. Forget about the alphabet. There is, no. Forget about the one capital letter. There is no, not even a single alphabet. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, capital alpha. Okay. So I'll give you example. You tell me. Okay. Is it a pass case or fail case?
Fail.
Fail. Why
Yeah.
fail?
Because there is no capital, no numerical data, nothing.
C. What is this?
Yeah. The first word should be
Did I say first? Did I say first or did I say?
No, but it doesn't look.
Say at least
Yes.
one capital. You
So
put
there
the
is
two.
at least one.
No capital.
It's missing the number.
Huh?
Number is not
Missing
there.
number.
Number. There is no number.
Not a
Oh,
mistake. This
these are
one is
all
the
these supposed to
capital
be all
alpha
like
means
capital.
lowercase and capital letter is 3, 4, 5, 6 doesn't matter, and then our limit is 8, and then 2 is lower, and then another 6 is capital, like that.
Okay. Is it pass or fail scenario? That's all I'm
This
asking.
one is the pass, I think.
Pass, I think.
Yeah, because we are learning.
100% it is pass.
I think pass. 100% pass. I think.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. This is how you have to analyze. Now it's minimum 5 characters, right? Now it is minimum 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minimum 5. 6 is a pass, correct? Right. Now check and max 30, that's fine. Alphanumeric and special, right? Alphanumeric, anything part of alphanumeric is also fine. It doesn't have number, that is fine. It's not mandated to have a number. It is just that you can have a number also, which is a pass scenario. That's what it means. Okay, it's not mandatory. So you either have alpha numeric, but check the special condition, at least one capital. There are two capitals, that means there is at least one. One or more is at least. Okay, that's English. So it is correct data and it is a pass. Okay, it's just a simple analysis. Don't overthink. Okay, mixed alpha, I'll write something like this. Actually, this example is wrong because I made it a mixed alpha, right? So let's take this. Okay, maybe that's why you got confused. Okay. So Russell, all caps. Let's say all capital alpha. Okay, so mixed alpha is already there. Okay, is it a pass scenario or fail scenario? Now this says at least one, so it is still satisfied. So that's why it's pass. So is it pass? Mixed means capital and small.
Pass.
Yes.
I mean, you're thinking too much. You have to say it in a second. Alphanumeric, all lowercase. Okay, so alphanumeric. So I'm saying alphanumeric. I'm taking an example. Now, is it correct?
Pass.
Pass.
No, fail because it doesn't have at least one capital. The mandatory condition is at least one capital, and it doesn't have a single capital, and it's fail.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, lower.
Yeah. Now, is this pass or fail? Quickly.
It's pass.
Pass, correct, because it has what at least one. There may be more, but at least one capital. So I got correct. Okay. Now, is it a pass?
It's pass.
Pass, correct. Okay, one more.
You will pass too.
Pass.
Just pass.
Okay. Okay, let me ask each and every one of you now. Okay, because let's take the majority. Because pass or fail?
This one is pass.
Pass.
Okay. Faisal,
Pass.
Mim,
Pass.
It will pass.
Mohammed, Hussein, Muzamil Haq,
Pass.
Naeem,
Pass.
Russell.
Yeah, is pass.
Okay, Sangam. Sangam says fail. I'll tell you why. Okay, read the sentence again. Password should be minimum 5 characters, okay, and max 30 characters, right? Now minimum 5, max 30, that is satisfied. It is in the range of 5 to 30, so no problem. This one, okay. With alphanumeric. Oh, okay. I mentioned special character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you mentioned the special character in here, and you put
That is
that.
allowed.
I am my bad.
Why
Okay,
we
you're
are
right.
told
I
pass?
actually
Because
I did
special
this.
character and alphanumeric. That's why.
Okay, good job. So good catch. So that is pass. Okay. Now that's why I'm emphasizing on reading the requirement carefully. So even if I miss this, okay, I am making the wrong conclusion. Okay. Now that is about the functionality testing. So we are going to discuss about this more. But before this, I'll just quickly discuss the non-functional testing. So non-functional testing is not mandatory testing; it's optional testing, because only if the client wants it, then only it can be done. So they will hire non-functional tester like performance testers. So you might have heard about, right? So there's a special kind of testing called performance testing, which is part of non-functional testing, of course. So they will have to hire these, and security testers and blah, blah, blah. So example would be performance testing, stress testing, load testing, endurance testing, security testing, reliability testing, compatibility testing, portability, configuration testing, installation, memory testing, storage testing, multi-language testing, globalization testing, internationalization or localization testing, parallel testing. These are all the main examples. I mean, there are more, but these are main ones. So like the name suggests, it does not focus on the functional aspect of the application, but it focuses more on the other side of the functional. That means non-functional aspects such as performance. How does it perform if more number of users use it? And
Sangam, can I ask a question, please?
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. Sangam, we are talking about the software testing. So is there any special testing for the handicapped people or disabled people? This is not covered
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so that is covered under have you heard of Jazz software? That also comes under non-function only. So I was
Yeah.
gonna discuss about. So that is for disability testing.
Right.
Did a 508 compliance?
Correct.
Yeah.
508 component, right? So which is basically incorporated in the government sites, like whatever ends in .gov. So those actually meet the rules or adhere to the rules of that are set by 508. So
Okay.
it's mainly using Jazz software because you cannot test it manually. Jazz is a
Right.
more advanced software by IBM or something, I don't know. So that is mainly for visually impaired people which actually makes the whole text read out, okay,
Right. Right.
or who cannot see properly. I mean, they can see but not. So it basically puts more contrast. Okay, if you see this text, it's not very contrast, right? So
Yeah.
brightness and contrast with more, and with all the highlight, you can actually in Windows also it's available the theme. So you can make high contrast theme. So then that's what it is. So you just have to go for it, and also it serves to the what do you say, yeah, visually impaired and high contrast and hearing impaired also, maybe I don't know. So all these kinds of testing. So there are who are experts in these kind of testing. They would know more about this, but we will just state this. Yeah, disability testing. That's a good point.
Okay, thank you, Sangam.
Sorry, what is it?
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for the asking question.
It's our pleasure.
We would be missing this point, right? Okay, so mainly we use tools. Okay, let me put the jazz here. 508 testing. Yeah, normally you see the requirements about 508 testing. So because most people who are like not like private sites do not cater to these rules, but it's a part of World Wide Web Consortium. Anybody heard of this W3 consortium, which sets the rules of how the site should be designed in terms of design? So it also sets the rule about 508, how it tries to cater to the needs of disability people. So, and the testing is also there, specialized testing, who take care of this. So mostly it's done in healthcare related projects, I guess. So anyway, so coming back to this, load runner, rational performance tester, neo test load, which is a cloud based testing. All these are used for performance testing, and JAS is used for the 508 testing. And okay, so performance testing, we don't need to know much about them because that is totally different area. So just let me state about the performance testing. I guess I already stated. Yeah, performance. Okay, we are coming on. This is the previous batch I was explaining. So anyway, I covered it. So we'll come to that. Compatibility testing is to verify whether the project is working in all environments, operating systems, servers, browsers. So that is a compatibility, like the name suggests. And configuration testing is to verify the software is configured with hardware or not. There is a typo. And installation testing is to verify the installation of any software downloaded is proper or not. Okay, so you don't
Sangam,
need.
who is Sangam? Sangam,
Yes.
please. Who is just conducting configuration testing? Is it a test engineer or it is a developer?
Test engineer and infrastructure team would involve in this configuration testing, because they are the infrastructure team would take care of these installations, configurations, and stuff like that. So tester has to sit with them and do both. Both will collaborate and do the configuration testing.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So security testing is involves authorization, authentication, and encryption decryption. So authorization, authentication, and encryption decryption. So in order to explain this, I will take an example of the login. So for example, you entered the login user password, right? So then what happens, for example, if you're using Gmail or Google and you enter it, so it is not transformed directly. So before it travels to the network, all the layers of the network, it gets encrypted. So you know encryption, right? Encryption means it is using some algorithm, it is translated into some other language which nobody can understand. So only people or system who have this algorithm can decrypt it. So it will be encrypted so that no hacker can hack into it. So encryption, after encryption, this travels to the network. Correct. Okay. Now, before entering to the server, it gets decrypted, and then that will be checked against the database, right? Now, whatever needs to be transformed back, the response will again be encrypted, again travels back, and before reaching your system, the client browser, it gets decrypted and it gets displayed. So that is a whole encryption decryption process. Now, authentication authorization means, so first authenticate. So you enter valid user ID password, you get authenticate, right? Your authentication is correct. That means you are allowed to enter into your whatever application you are supposed to enter. Gmail, you enter the correct credentials, you enter the Gmail, your application. You go to your account, right? That means you are authenticated correctly. If you don't enter the valid ones, you do not get authenticated. Okay, these kind of tests. Authorization means you authenticated, but you're not supposed to see some screens, so those are disabled for you. For example, you are the normal user, and there are different kinds of user like super user, admin user, supervisor, right? All these. So if the same application is logged in by admin, he will see more screens. That means he has authorization to see more screens. So after authentication, authorization limits you based on that what type of user you are. Okay, so these kind of testing is done in the security testing. So authorization, okay, I just wrote the examples here: admin user, normal user, supervisor, customer care. And basically customer care related applications would need this. So they have super users, right? The customer care call center guy just will be able to access only few parts of the application, but super user will be, or the admin user will be able to see all other customer care employees activity in a different portal. So that is a different kind of authorization. So he will be more authorized, in other words. It's a, yeah, those kind of testing will be dealing with those. And encryption decryption is, like I said, it's just converting data into a more ununderstandable format and to understandable format back and forth based on the needs. And memory testing, data volume testing is to verify the maximum limit of data. Like if project is able to handle certain limit, then if you go beyond this, it will not be able to handle. So it will check the limits of this by changing the this CPU configuration, memory, RAM, and storage data, the external hard drives and everything. And mainly performance testing. This is important for whenever we call non-functional testing, we come immediately the performance testing comes into your mind, right? So that means to verify application is able to handle the load of the concurrent users per customer expectations mentioned in the SLA, service level agreement. So service level agreement says your service level agreement says something like this: for the performance, 90% of the time the response time should be 5 seconds or less, and 10% of the time the response time should be between 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, that means it should not exceed 10 seconds, in other words. Okay, so that means that if you have 100 pages, let's say, okay, and you're going through the whole average, it's an average response time. Basically, it's everything is average at the end of it. Average response time. So if you have 100 pages, each response time means it's just how fast the application is loading, page is loading, right? So it basically means it's a request time plus network time plus the server response time. Combined together is called response time. Don't worry if you don't understand completely, but just think of it as each page loads in, like if I open Amazon.com during certain hours, it takes little time, more time, like it takes 5 seconds. Sometimes it opens in the displays in the 2 seconds. That is because of the traffic. If the more the traffic, the more the response time. That means more time it takes to load. So if the SLA says for Amazon, like there are 100 pages, and all the 100 pages on average like taking 7 seconds, right? 7 seconds. Is it okay? It's okay, not very good, because it's 7 seconds waiting time is too much. I mean, if actually open a page like this, it actually takes 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. You can actually relate to that, right? So you have to wait, so that leads to frustration, which is not good for the customer. So hence it's not good for the business. So they have to take care of it by increasing the number of CPUs and increasing the RAM, memory, and server, stuff like that. Okay, so that thing is emulated. So when I say emulated, it is dealing with the number of concurrent users. So I will push 100 concurrent users on the application at the same time using a tool called performance tester, rational performance tester, or load runner, that is capable of doing that. So I just access 100 pages at the same time with the same split second, without a split second difference. Then I will see how fast they are accessing. So that is tested in the load testing.
That
And
means you have to do it automation testing or here.
No,
This
it is different. That's why I'm saying you. It is not the automation testing, it's performance testing, load testing. So
okay.
automation testing is for what is automation testing using? That's what we are going to talk more later in later stages. We use Eclipse, we code using Java, use Selenium Webdriver. In instead of doing manually, if I go, if I click here and stuff like that, I will make the tool does it for me, right? That is automation testing. One at a time only, one page. Whereas the performance testing, I will hit this page 100 times at the same time. That is a performance testing, and see how fast this page loads. You get the picture, right? That is
Yes.
different kind of testing, performance. So in that, I will increase the loads gradually 10, 50, 100, 250, 500, and I will see the response times. And I will note it down in the Excel spreadsheet and check with the SLA and make it a pass or fail based on the client requirement. Stress testing is same thing, but I'll suddenly increase this load. I will first test with 500 and suddenly go to 5,000 and come down to 20, then go to 2,000, like that, and see. So sometimes server crashes. So we will see all those testing in the stress testing. Okay, so that is mainly performance testing. So don't worry, that is totally different area. Whoever one is interested in that, they'll go to that. So the entire resume looks different, and you have to speak in different terminology. So totally different ballgame. Okay, so multi-language testing is, if you have seen some sites, so they will come up with some somewhere here on the top right hand corner, you will see a language symbol, right? You can drop it down and you can select Spanish, French, Italian, Russian, stuff like that. And once you select it, all the page is displayed in that particular language, right? Now that is done through from developing perspective. They will use some property file. So they will translate each and every word into that language, and that property file loads. That is different story. But when it comes to testing, multi-language testing, you have to be thorough in the linguists, that particular language, and you will check whether all the wording and stuff like that are getting displayed in that particular language correctly or not. Country wise, so country wise notations and currency and date format, so these things are taken into consideration. For example, French doesn't use dollar, so if you mention dollar, they won't understand. So that particular format, date format, MMDDYY or DDMMYY, those things will be tested. Localization actually is a different language. It's called localization. People get confused. Multilanguage, internationalization and localization are part of multilanguage. So globalization means internationalization or localization. When it comes to localization, you locally, whatever language you speak, the same language should be displayed in the page. That's what you test. Internationalization is, it actually adheres to your customs, traditions, date, formats, currencies. For example, if I am accessing Amazon.in and the total price is displayed in dollar sign, that's a failure case, right? And what should be the this thing in Amazon.in must display all the prices in rupees. So in Bangladesh, Bangla rupees, right? So that kind of testing is performed in the as part of internationalization testing. So both internationalization testing and localization testing are part of multi-language testing. That is a broader term. And parallel testing and comparative testing is to verify the versioning. So every product comes with the version, and the same product has multiple competitors in the market, right? So you compare those and with the other like eBay and Amazon, and you comparatively, are you better or not? So those kind of testing, this actually gives input to customer to how to better themselves. Also, you parallel testing. So previous versions of your own, how it is better than my previous own version. So those kind of testing are performed in this. And that is the end of system testing, which is the fifth part of software development life cycle. So we have discussed the fifth point, system testing so far, right? Everything related to functional testing, functionality testing, non-functional testing comes under system testing, including black box testing techniques. So the test case writing, the BVA and DCP are useful in writing test cases. Okay, so I shared with you in this same folder the sample test case, right? You can open that and see 3 columns. So 3 columns will be like this. First one is serial number, test step number. I'll just write it.
I have one question, please.
We will see more of this. Yeah, like this. Let me finish this. Step number,
Okay.
test description, expected result, actual result, test data. So same thing for username, BBA and ECP we have written, right? So step number, you go to the application and the expected result application is opened. Okay. When you execute it, application is open and test data is nothing, null. And verdict, you can also mention verdict. That is a pass or fail, right? Verdict means pass or fail. So this is during some fields may be entered at the time of execution. Next, you enter the user ID with so and so characters, 5 characters alphanumeric, and enter the password also, right? At the same time, because and click login button at the same time. If there is any field validations, you do separately, but you enter user ID, password, and click the login button, then expected result should be next page should be displayed. If you enter all wrong, all correct, pass scenarios from BV and DCP, and same actual result. And the second thing, you can repeat the same thing, log out and log in, or you can repeat the whole test case later with the fail scenarios. So that's how you write the test case in Excel. So you can refer to the Excel spreadsheet, and that will be done in lab session. Yeah, go on. Somebody is talking, right?
Yeah. And then we are learning right now the functional testing and performance testing. Any different for the mobile testing or?
Mobile testing is same thing, but you have to test the apps rather than the site. So
Which
even in
tools,
mobile testing,
which tools we are using for the mobile testing?
there are even Selenium Webdriver is also used. I will tell you. I mean, I don't tell in detail. That is totally different. But you just simulate that site for this thing. So let me show you. So the
And the
tools use the
manual part, what type of testing we are doing? And then automation is maybe we are using for APOM or like that. And then manual.
Yeah, so I'll tell you. Hold on. So Selenium WebDriver, when we are actually you are going too fast in the future. So we'll come to that. Let's go slowly step by step. But in automation testing for the browser, Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Safari browser, Internet Explorer browser, we will open this and catch the XPaths of each object like this, right? Like this, I'll catch each object's XPath and operate on those XPath. I'll automate it. So that will run on these browsers. Now there are different softwares like Perfecto Mobile and all those, and Selenium WebDriver is also capable of doing. All we have to do is just download that particular driver. And here the toggle device toolbar, these are for the phone and iPad thing, right? These are the mobile devices. So if you click on this, same page is displayed in like this. See, this is like a touch, right? Now you can automate this. This is like a mobile version of it. You're seeing, right? Same page is displayed in how it display in the iPhone or Android phone. So you can simulate this and test this for the mobile version also. So like imagine this like you open your mobile browser. In the browser you open in the mobile and open the same site, and how would you test without using the mobile? You can test it on desktop. Okay, now same thing you can test for the apps also. So there are different softwares such as Perfecto Mobile, and using those you can define. Or if you want to use the same Selenium WebDriver, you can also do so. Like I said, you have to driver the iPhone driver, Android driver, BlackBerry driver, Windows phone driver. So all the drivers are available. All we have to do is download and use those methods. If anybody is from development background, they would understand. So we will talk about this. But mobile testing in detail is different topic, like performance testing is.
Okay.
Did I answer your
Thank you.
question? Now I switching back to desktop version. See, this is a toggle. So if I click, this is a mobile. This is how it would be displayed. Shorter version. So this is a touch. I can, instead of clicking a touch, and same thing. So exactly it is simulating. And app would do the same. So app testing is completely in-depth mobile testing. So this is just a mobile
Testing
version
is
of.
as like a functional testing. We do the functional testing as like a same. We'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In mobile testing also same techniques appear, same techniques repeat. Functional testing, look and usability testing, performance testing for the mobile testing,
Okay. Every
GAD.
concept we are apply for the mobile testing also, huh? Same as.
Yeah,
Okay,
same.
thank
All these concepts apply to same thing to the
you.
mobile again.
Only
That's
for mobile apps. We use the only for mobile apps, huh?
yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thank you.
these concepts you are learning, don't think it's only for the desktop testing. It's also for mobile testing. So if you are interested in these, wouldn't go wasted. I mean, concept wouldn't go wasted. So okay. So anyway, that's last, not last. After the system testing, acceptance testing takes place. So there is a different team from the customer side people who actually take care of this kind of testing called user acceptance testing. So by name, it suggests that they would act as a layman. So layman in the sense who doesn't know any technical knowledge, who do not have anything. So they are like end users. They don't know anything. Okay, general public. They don't have any idea about. They just hit the screens and see randomly if anything comes up. So the system test, as a tester, you should be very careful. You should have done 100% testing so that UAT team does not catch anything. So if they catch, that means you have not done your job very well. So they will point out. So that's not good for you. So they use different kinds of tools to quickly check. They can easily catch the bugs which are not detected by the test team. And there are alpha testing, beta testing involved. Alpha testing is for real customer side with customer side people, and beta testing is done for the products. So alpha testing is done for the applications, and these both are done at the customer side only, customer client side, and by the model customer side people. So what is the difference between application and product? Both are same or different? Application is simple application. For example, if you take any application like uh, this one, GoToMeeting only. Okay, this is application, right? Now if you take yahoo.com, gmail.com, these are not applications, these are products. Product is a combination of applications. If you go to Yahoo comes with different, right? Flickr, Yahoo Mail, Yahoo Messenger, blah blah blah. So Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Marketing, all those. So these are the products. So these are done for the beta testing. Whenever you do that testing, that called beta testing by the client side people. Same thing for Gmail, because it's comes as a package product with the different applications put together. And finally, the release testing, port testing is takes place after UAT. Everything is successful in UAT. Then they will release the software to the production. So first it will go to the stage environment and then goes to the production environment. Production, what is production environment? Anybody?
And client user and the last part of
Live
testing.
environment used by end user, not end client. End user is you and me. Like if you are using Gmail and Yahoo, we are the end users, like general public. So that means it is a final stage. Only when it goes to the final stage, it will be able to be uh, accessible by the end user. So that is a final testing. Okay, so far we have seen all kinds of testing, right? Now we have talked about SDLC, and when I started SDLC, I said about methodologies. There are one methodology which I stated in the beginning, which is called Waterfall Methodology, which is synonymous to software development lifecycle. So when somebody asks what is the waterfall model, here that is nothing but software development life cycle, because we are going in the waterfall model one by one. Waterfall doesn't go from bottom to up, right? It goes from top to bottom always. So likewise, after requirement gathering is completely finished, analysis and planning starts. After this is 100% finished, system testing, system design starts. Then implementation coding starts. Then system testing starts. Then UAT starts. Then deployment is done. Then it goes to, UAT and blah blah blah. Then goes live. So the later on stage is complete, is dependent upon the previous stage. It's contingent upon previous stage successful completion. So hence it is called waterfall model. And advantages we discuss. Advantages, every step is completed and next step follows. So it's very convenient, comfortable. Disadvantage is time taking process, because you have to wait. If I want to test, I have to wait until all these stages are complete. So that is a waterfall model. Now there are other methodologies, models, which I'll just state, and we will end this session today. Where is it? Yeah. So other is vProcess model. vProcess model is nothing but, I already mentioned way back. So it is kind of better than waterfall model. Okay, it looks exactly like software development lifecycle, but there is more flexibility. Okay, now if you look at the same thing, I put the comments here itself. Requirement gathering stage, the UAT team can start testing there based on the requirements. Okay, so it's parallel. The UAT team cannot wait, don't have to wait. And during the analysis and planning stage, the system testing can write test cases at least, because you don't have to execute them. You can start writing test cases, because all you need is wireframes and requirements. You already have it. And during system design stage, the unit testing can occur. Okay, so developer can start writing unit test cases at least, and during the implementation stage, the tester can actually start executing. So system test already occurred here parallel to this, and UAT already occurred parallel to the requirement gathering stage. So you save some time, right? So the next methodology, which is more important in the sense that it is currently used in 90% of the projects, which is known as, where is it? I am too fast. Okay, here. Agile methodology. So agile methodology, we have short sprints and we go faster than vProcess or waterfall. So we have, everything is divided into short sprints and it goes as a package and releases, right? And this release has its own words. It has complete functionality. So where the releases goes like 1.5 months every sprint, and we have meetings. So, and the only advantage here is everything moves faster, which is more advantageous for the client. But the disadvantage side, it is very hectic for the tester developers, so because they have to move faster with the requirements. Okay, so in the testing, we have again a test cycle called software test life cycle. Okay, so like software development has its own life cycle, we have our own life cycle, which is called software testing life cycle. Okay, so test case writing, test planning, test execution, defect reporting, test closure, everything comes into this category, this kind of life cycle. So we will discuss about this in the next class on Saturday. Any questions so far?
I have one question for you. So when you do the test cases, you show us a method like steps, description, and everything. So when you do the failing test cases, like for password, or when you do the pass test cases, we have to write down all the all the failure and all the pass ones.
Don't have to. You just write the test cases in generic way. Like you go to the application, you open the login window, you enter a user ID password, and you click on login button. That's happy path, and the login goes to successfully, provided you put the data like valid user ID, valid password. That is done, right? Now there are other valid cases also, like min plus one, min plus one, right? All these are valid cases. Now you drive this whole test case without having to write one more test case for the other data, other positive data. You just mention as a note that repeat the same test case with 2-3 sets of more data, which is past test cases. Okay, note. Then whoever executes it, they will again repeat the same test case with different sets of data, all positive ones. Okay, now you write another negative test case which cover min -1, max +1, and one more. Right? All those are the negative cases. One positive test case, one negative test case for the login page is sufficient. And there are three negative cases, min -1. You just mention a note that repeat the same about test steps with this data. That's all. That's sufficient. So that you are going to see the lab session. Yeah. So that's a good question. Good point raised. You don't have to write all the 6 test cases. That would be too cumbersome, right? So you
Yeah, that's
just write
gonna be
one
like
happy
a
path,
lot of
one
test
negative
cases when I come out.
Right. Yeah. So that you can actually make a note of it here. I can mention note if you want. Just write one test case for happy path and one test case for negative path. Okay, and mention notes below that repeat the above steps with below test data. That's sufficient. The note would say, then the tester, whoever is executing, would understand, okay, I have to repeat this 3 times with this BVA and ECP thing coming in the picture. So that's a practical thing. Theoretically, we talked about the BVA and ECP that would result in more. It makes you think that you have to deal with more test cases, but not. Writing is easier. You just write generic test case and just say note, repeat. And automation wise, we will actually put the data in the data pool. So that I will show you in the automation testing. So, okay, guys, that's all for tonight. It's already 15 minutes over. So I'll end this session today and we'll talk about this more on next class. Good night.
Good night.
Any questions? You can take me now. Okay, no homework tonight. So you're good. Tata, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Yeah.